Time now for a look at today's papers, and we're joined here by Clément Bonneron. We begin with the historic summit on sex abuse in the Catholic Church. Of course, one of our top stories this Thursday. Clément, tell us more.
Absolutely. It makes the front page of several newspapers here in France, including Sud-Ouest. The headline reads, "The Church is bracing for some soul-searching." Nearly 200 church leaders from around the world are expected at the Vatican to address the crisis after a series of sex abuse scandals. The Church faces its demons is the headline on the front page of L'Humanité. The communist paper is pinning its hopes on the four-day summit, saying all perpetrators must be brought to justice. Le Monde, meanwhile, calls on the Church to take adequate measures to prevent further scandals. Wishful thinking won't be enough this time. Now is the time for action, the Daily warns. The Church must break the code of silence and look at the monster it created in the face. And I've got this cartoon as well in Le Monde by Plantu. The message is clear: the Church can no longer look the other way.
The Church can no longer look the other way, and that's, of course, a sentiment, Clément, of many of the victims who've spoken to the French daily Le Parisien.
Absolutely. Many survivors are actually quite sceptical about the willingness of the Church to tackle the issue and implement actual change. Laurent Duverger, who was abused by a priest some 40 years ago, is asking for more accountability from the Vatican. He wants the Church to stop claiming ignorance about abuse that's been going on for decades. Another survivor, Claire Maximova, says there should be more women in the Church and that priests should be allowed to get married and lead a normal life.
Let's move on from that story to France, where Emmanuel Macron's bodyguard, his name has become very familiar, of course, with the headlines. Alexandre Benalla is once again getting a lot of attention.
That's right, and that comes after French senators released a scathing report on Wednesday accusing Benalla of lying under oath and obstructing investigations by concealing evidence. And the report also directly points the finger at the Élysée, according to news website Mediapart. Senators say they found major flaws in the government's handling of the so-called Benalla scandal. They accuse Macron's chief of staff, Patrick Strodda, of, quote, withholding crucial evidence during their testimonies earlier this year. The story obviously also making the front page of several newspapers. The headline on the front page of Libération is "Mensonge d'État, State Lies." Liberal daily L'Opinion, meanwhile, warns of a possible domino effect for the French presidency, suggesting there could be collateral damages for Emmanuel Macron.
Now, Clément, you've been taking a look at a story that's been extremely divisive, even amongst us journalists, and that's, of course, about revoking the citizenship of Shamima Begum, a teenager who fled London 4 years ago to join the Islamic State group. And, of course, the British outlets are very much reacting to this. Tell us how they've been covering this rather polarising story.
Well, there have been very mixed reactions to this very polarising story, as you said. The Guardian says revoking her citizenship is not in Britain's interest. It entrenches a sense that citizenship now has two tiers. Many migrant children will take note, writes the paper, feeling a little less safe and confident in their homeland. And the Telegraph actually agrees. Shamima Begum was arguably a traitor to Britain, that's the word the paper uses, but revoking her citizenship simply sends the wrong message. The better, more responsible way of dealing with the problem, the paper says, would be to arrest and prosecute her.
Clément, let's end with a story that's expected to have a rather light angle, which might be of surprise to our viewers. Of course, next week we know that the US President Donald Trump's meeting with his North Korean counterpart, Kim Jong-un. And it seems that the two leaders have become somewhat of a style icon in Hanoi.
Well, believe it or not, a barbershop in the Vietnamese capital is offering free haircuts to those looking to copy the two leaders' rather distinctive hairstyles. The shop owner says he started offering the cuts for fun, but was taken aback by their popularity. You can see a picture behind me. One 9-year-old customer, the one who's pictured here in particular, says he likes his new haircut because now people think I'm powerful, he says.
This is so disturbing. I don't know if you agree with me, but it makes me feel really uncomfortable. Clément Bonneron, thank you so much for taking a look at the various outlets, the coverage of the news. Of course, if you want more information on the stories that Clément's just been talking about, you can go to our website. That's www.france24.com.